devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Vijay Mataji, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji. I'll share my screen. Can you hear me?
Prabhu, my Zoom keeps dropping, so just in case it drops, I'll try to get back on as soon as I can.
Sure, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Nasta Prayeshu Abhareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavaiti Nasteki. Today we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 5, Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha, text 1 through 13. Text 1. Maitreya said, when Lord Shiva heard from Narada that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away by the Rubu demigods, he became greatly angry. Text 2. Thus Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground. Text 3. A fearful black demon, as high as the sky and as bright as 3 suns combined, was thereby created. His teeth very fearful, and the hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms, equipped with various weapons, and he was garlanded with the heads of men. Text 4. When that gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanatha, directly ordered, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all my associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice." Text 5. Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, that black person was the personified anger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was prepared to execute the orders of Lord Shiva. Thus, considering himself capable of coping with any power offered against him, he circumambulated Lord Shiva." Text 6. Many other soldiers of Lord Shiva followed the fierce personality in the tumultuous uproar. He carried a great trident, fearful enough to kill even death, and on his legs he wore bangles which seemed to roar. Text 7. At that time, all the persons assembled in the sacrificial arena, the priest, the chief of the sacrificial performance, and the brahmanas and their wives wondered where the darkness was coming from. Later, they could understand that it was a dust storm, and all of them were full of anxiety. Text 8. Conjecturing on the origin of the storm, they said, "There is no wind blowing, and no cows are passing, nor is it possible that this dust storm could be raised by plunderers, for there is still the strong King Barhi, who would punish them. Where is the dust storm blowing from? Is the dissolution of the planet now to occur?" Text 9. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, along with the other women assembled, became very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as her sisters look on." Text 10. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags, as thunder scatters the clouds all over the world. Text 11. The gigantic black man bared his fearful teeth. By the movements of his brows, he scattered the luminaries all over the sky, and he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Daksha, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the great exhibition of anger. Text 12. While all the people talked amongst themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omens from all sides, from the earth and from the sky. Text 13. My dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of sacrifice. They were of short stature and were equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial arena and thus began to create disturbances. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vidyamati. Hare Krishna. Yeah, when you're ready, Rasa Chandrik Mati, you can start.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on Bhagavatam that we are reading. It helps me purify my consciousness. So thank you for this opportunity. I'll start with quick little prayers. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalataya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Prabhuji, can I share my screen?
Yes, Mati.
I'm sorry for not being completely thoroughly prepared. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading 5th chapter of 4th canto, and the title for this chapter is Frustration of the Sacrifices of Daksha. So right before this chapter, the 4th chapter, we witnessed while reading, a very unfortunate incident where Mother Sati gave up her body because of the behavior of Daksha Prajapati. And it was very, Daksh Maharaj, and it is very disheartening when you read the whole instance. And that's where the 5th chapter is getting continued, where Maitra Rishi is talking. And this first verse is really important. So this will be the verse that will be recommended for reading. Here, there are certain realizations that while reading, I would want to share today. So here, Maitreya says that when Lord Shiva heard from Narad that Sati, his wife, was now dead. So this here itself is a big shock, right? A beloved person of yours, your spouse, is now dead because of Prajapati's insulted to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away. So here, because of this incidents, it kind of forced me to think that why did this happen? The whole situation, why did it arise? It arose because of a small thing, and that small thing was lust. And who had that lust? It was Prajapati Daksh. That lust, where I understood this context from, is from chapter number 3, Bhagavad Gita. I would like to share a little bit of from that chapter. Here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjun, which is born of contact with material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world." So here, the whole problem, the whole issue that we also suffer in our life is because of lust. Here, Prajapati Daksh had the lust of being famous. He wanted to, he demanded respect. So because of this attitude of his, he's further went into too much of passion, and then that turned into wrath, right? Uh, Here we'll read couple of these translations. As fire is covered by smoke, as mirror is covered by dust, as an embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of the lust. So are we. In this, we have a detailed explanation. Thus, the living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So this lust, this desire to have materialistic thing, I want this now, I want that. Because of this, a person completely wastes his human life. And then what happens is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare sharanam. So here, the most important thing that we learn again from the next verse is the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are sitting place of the lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of living entity and bewilders him. So here, Prajapati Daksh had lost his mind, we can say. He demanded too much of respect. He had a lot of false ego in him. His intelligence had stopped working, because of which, even though he saw that his daughter right in front of him is actually going to give up his life, he did not budge from his place because he was absolutely ignorant. He thought so because that yes, maybe Sati deserves this because she is wife of Shiva and I'm a great personality. So if she thinks she want to give up her life, she might as well do that, which is having ignorance on your intelligence. And this, the root cause, again, we're going saying this again and again, but the root cause is lust. Um, yeah. Therefore, Arjuna, best of Bharatas, in the very beginning, curbed the great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So Krishna is also telling us. So in the very beginning only, we have to control our senses. It is very, very necessary that we control senses so that we don't get into this rut of having a lot of lust in us, desires in us to have sense gratification. And for that, our beloved Srila Prabhupada has laid down such beautiful ground rules, because of which we are in a position where we can try and control our senses, right? And this is the last one that I want to emphasize over here. The working senses are superior to dull matter. The mind is higher than the senses. The intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. So when we first understand what is the constitutional position of our soul, our jivatma, that's when we will be able to regulate all these things. We will be able to control our mind, our intelligence, our senses, everything, once we give prime importance to the soul. What happens is, unfortunately, we are not able to give that prime importance to the soul. The soul falls last. We give prime importance to the material senses, that I want to drink this, I want to eat this, I want to watch this, I have the desire to go out for shopping. So here the thing which has to be under the control becomes the leader. And what happens, the result is the soul, which has to be the leader, becomes the a person who's controlled, right? So this is what I was realizing when I was reading, that only if Daksh Prajapati did not have so much lust, right, there would not, nothing would like this would have happened. Satima would be there, everything would be fine. But this thing is a good lesson for myself, especially myself. So in Hindi, you say Rai ka pahad banana. It's just a very small topic. You just stretch it out into a very big thing. This is what exactly was practiced by Daksh Prajapati over here. So here, I also have a couple of more references. It's from Bhagavad Gita 2.62. Here, Krishna says, while contemplating the object of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and for such attachment, lust develops, and thus anger. And we saw this previously when Daksha Prajapati, he had that desire of being appreciated and welcomed and respected by everybody. And when that was not done, he was very angry. And when he was angry, all that came out of his mouth was garbage, right? It was all against Lord Shiva. And then in this shlok, from anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. And this is, if we read this with keeping Daksh Prajapati in our mind, exactly everything works. First, he had lust, then anger, then he was delusioned, and because he was delusioned, he was bewildered, and he lost his intelligence completely. And then whatever he spoke, it was everything Vaishnava Prada. And a person who's doing Vaishnava Prada has nowhere possible to come back or to go back to Godhead. He is absolutely going to fall down in the lowest of the planets. I'll see the last one over here. But a person free from the attachment and aversions and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain complete mercy of the Lord. So here Krishna is telling us what the problem is. And then he is giving us immediately the answer also. So he's saying the person who's free from attachment and aversions. So again, we'll keep Daksh Prajapati in our mind. And if he were to be free from all the attachment and aversions, and a small thing that Shivji did not get up to respect him because he was already meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he had already provided obeisances to the super soul in Daksha Prajapati, it would have been all good. Right? So for us also, it is a very good lesson that if we also start behaving like this, we might also end up with a goat head. Okay? So here in this verse only, for, oh gosh. In this verse only, further it is described that Satima over here had the ability to kill Daksha Prajapati right then and there by seeing how he's behaving. Because Parvati Ma, Sati Ma is the material energy. She is the personification of material energy, and she has the power to create and to annihilate anything in this material world. Though she works under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but she does have that power. So she could have killed her father right then and there, but she did not. Why? Because it is not very good to be killing your father. It is a wrong example that we might end up setting. And again, in Bhagavad Gita only, we have learned this that, I'm sorry, in Bhagavad Gita, we have learned this whatever action a great man performs, men follow. And whatever standards he set by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So here, Satima, out of the pure understanding that no, it is not right if I kill my own father because it can create a wrong example for the people, the future generation to come. Hence, she decided that it is better I give up my body, which I got from Daksh Prajapati, because it is anyways not good to have that. In the previous chapter, we had already discussed if person is doing Vaishnava Prad, he should be killed right then and there. But if you cannot, then you might as well kill yourself. So here, Satima gave up her life, though she could have taken away Daksha's. Here, this news, very sorrowful news, was delivered by Sri Narad Muni to Lord Shiva. And he generally, you will see when there is a very important Leela pastime that is being happened, the conductor of the news is generally Narad Muni, because he does have that sense of how to approach with whatever kind of news it is and deliver it to the person whom he has to. And that wisdom also comes because of pure bhakti at the level that Narad Muni is. Here, when Lord Shiva heard this, that his wife was dead, after hearing this, he was obviously very, very angry. He was enraged. And then he realized that it was Bhrigu Muni who had created river demigods, and they flee away his army, Lord Shiva's army, and because of the mantras that he had chanted from Yajurveda. And now he really had, Shiva really wanted to kill Daksh Prajapati, make sure that he is not there anymore. And from there, we'll go on to text number 2. So here, it is pretty much self-explanatory. Hence, we don't have an elaborated purport by Srila Prabhupada. That Lord Shiva is now very extremely angry, and in anger, he's pressing his lip with his stick because he's trying to control, but he can't. And then from his head, he plucks one hair strand. Okay, and with one hair strand, and he slashes it on the ground, and with that one hair strand, a big demon, Veerbhadra, he comes out. With our high hairstyle, nothing comes out. You can see how much power is there in Shivaji. and he was taken so much for granted by Daksha Prajapati. And then we move on to text number 3. Here, the appearance is described of the demon who came out from the hair strand, a fearful black man demon as high as the sky. So he is very huge, and it is stated that he was bright like 3 suns combined together. When it is a sunny day, we cannot see one sun even with the glasses on eye to eye. Here, 3 suns combined together, the energy was so high, and his hair looked like burning fire. Thousands of arms were there with lot of weapons. So if you imagine when you read this, you can see it as a very ghastly appearance which anybody would see would might even like have a medical issue and pass away. It is very, very disturbing, and this kind of demon was created, and this is the personification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whenever there is a Vaishnava aparadh, we will always have to face this kind of anger. Krishna can take anything. You might blaspheme him, say something against him, he'll be fine. It's okay. But if you say something against the Vaishnava, his devotees, then nothing is fine. I could also recall the incidents of Ambarish Maharaj. When Durvasa Muni created a monster to kill Ambarish Maharaj out of no fault of his, and he's such a good devotee, Krishna left his Sudarshan Chakra, and he made sure that Durvasa Muni understood what he's done, and he was so he's so much under the control of his devotees that when Durvasa Muni came to Vishnu, please save me from your Sudarshan Chakra, it's your Sudarshan Chakra. Vishnu said, no, I can't, because I have no power to control it anymore. All my power is in the hand of my devotee. So now that Vaishnava Prad is done, Satima has left her body, Shivji has been blasphemed so much. So obviously the results are not going to be positive in any way. Right? Then in text 4, I'm going to text 4. So here, we saw a gigantic demon came out, very ghastly appearance. Now he's folding his hand and asking Lord Shiva, what is that I can serve you with? How can I serve you? And Shivji tells him that you have come from my body, and now I'm giving you the reason why you're here. You have to kill Daksha and his soldiers. I want you to kill everybody over there. So this is the orders that he's received. In the purport, Prabhupada is explaining that now there is a competition. Now there is a competition between Brahma Tejas and Shiva Tejas. So Brahma Tejas as in Brahmanical powers. So Brigumani created Ribu demigods and tried to kill the army of Lord Shiva. And now Lord Shiva has created Virbhadra, whom is like we saw the appearance is going to be very, very horrifying. Now, what is going to happen next? So, here Prabhupada is explaining that in this material world, we are talking about material world. In this material world, there will always be competition with the modes of our nature, whether between goodness or ignorance. Here, it is between goodness and ignorance. So, whenever we will have the mode of goodness rising more, the mode of passion and mode of ignorance in us will also try to compete and win over. This is how it always stays in material world. Something or the other is going to create a hindrances when you are going to stay in the mode of goodness. But this does not happen in the spiritual world. The ignorance and passion don't even stand a place in spiritual world. But in material world, we do suffer from this problem. So what I could think about when I was reading this is even Arjuna was in such a position where he had a competition between mode of goodness and his ignorance at same time, where he's such a good devotee, such an amazing personality, and he was confused. We see that before in the first and the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He is confused that whether he should even be doing this yuddha, whether it is even fruitful. So he was completely under the ignorance aspect. So even his modes of goodness and ignorance were competing each other. So this is a very common scenario in material world, is what was being explained by Srila Prabhupada. In text 5, we see that here he's saying he's the personification, the black person is the personification of anger of Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he thought that Veerabhadra thought that I can take anything that comes against me because I have a lot of power which is given to me by Lord Shiva. And then he circumambulated, he did pradikshina around Lord Shiva, paid him obeisances and moved ahead uh, towards the yagya ceremony. Now in text 6, we see that many soldiers along with Lord Shiva, of Lord Shiva, followed that Veerabhadra, and it was a very big uproar. It was scary. In a very layman language, it was very scary. Any common person could have gotten scared seeing that vision. And then in text 7, we see at that time, all the people who were assembled in that arena, they were scared. Like, what is this dust storm about? We can see some dust storm. They had anxiety. They were worried. How is there so much darkness up in the atmosphere? Like, what is happening? So people had anxiety. And in text 8, here we see that there is a term that is used as Prachina Bahir Jivati. This is very important. Srila Prabhupada explains us that Prachina is like, oh, there is an old king named as Barhi, and he's still alive. Okay, and why he's telling? Why are people thinking like this? People are thinking that there is a very very strong king who lives in this kingdom. Then there is no possibility that burglars and rogues and thieves might be trying to plunder our yagya ceremony. So, how is this dust storm rising? We don't see any cows running. We don't see any other issues happening. So here, I could also think about strong king. When I read about strong king, I could think about Sri Ramachandra. There was once a Shudra trying to read the Vedas, and Sri Ramachandra knew the desire, the heart of that person, and hence he had to kill that person. That is immediately giving punishment to a person who deserves that punishment, right? And once there was Parikshit Maharaj, we know, or we are reading Bhagavatam, we all know about Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj also once encountered Kali Yuga, and he was hitting the bull, and it was a very horrifying situation also, where Parikshit Maharaj was absolutely ready to punish Kali Yuga. It was so powerful that even though it was time for Kali Yuga did not come because Parikshit Maharaj was still there. So these are the powerful kings who can lead a community. And if we see in our life that there are a lot of rogues and thieves who are plundering our riches, and there's a lot of injustice, it means the kings or the administration that we are under are not very strong or qualified. And we see that in Kali Yuga. This is a story of every place, right? So here it is specified that the dust storm resembled like the dissolution of the. So now it everything looks like pralay is going to come last moment. It is so horrifying. When you read this, I was personally getting scared. Like, we don't want to see pralay. I have to go back to Godhead before that because this is a very horrifying situation. Here in text 9, Prasuti, wife of Daksha, here she was assembled with other women, and she said that now we are going to face a lot of big danger, and this is all because of my husband Daksha, who let his own daughter Sati die, and his other daughters were standing there, but he did nothing. So because of all his sins, we are all going to now stand here, we are all going to suffer. In text 10, so here, Ma Prasuti is describing the powers of Lord Shiva. She says that he will, when he scatters his hair and when he is dancing and he's having his trident in his hand, it is when Pralaya is going to come. He has that power of creating dissolution. So she is describing the son-in-law's power, which clearly says that uh, Daksha Prajapati does not have as much power. He could have been killed by Sati also, and obviously he can be easily killed by Lord Shiva also. But still, the Mithya Ahankar in Daksha Prajapati is bigger than all of them, right? So she was trying to glorify Shivji, and here she says that in this dissolution, all the planets are going to be filled with water. They are going to get inundated. And then that is by Shiva's dance, because Shiva is going to do dance, and then that dance is called as the Pralaya dance. And there is also Tanda. When he does that, everything is going to fill with water. There will be a big pralaya, and everybody is going to leave their bodies now. In text 11, that gigantic man, as in Veerbhadra, he was heading towards that yajna ceremony, and he was very effulgent. People were very scared, and because of Daksha Prajapati's misbehavior, he is going to be punished. And right now, Veerbhadra is so powerful that with that anger, even if Lord Brahma, to come in front of him, even he would not be spared. So this was the stature of anger that we had right now. While all the people talked among themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omen from all the sides, from the earth and from the sky. Now everybody here, not out loud, because still they are scared, but were talking that, oh, it is all because of Daksha Prajapati. Because of him, he let his daughter die. Now see what is going to happen. And here, Daksha at that same time could see all bad omens around him. Whenever you see bad omens, it means something really serious is going to happen. So here this is a warning that even the nature is throwing at Lord Daksh Prajapati, that whatever you did was absolutely not acceptable. And the last slok for today, here, it's my dear Vidura Maitra Muni is saying, all the followers of Shiva surrounded that arena, and whoever was there with Veerbhadra in that army, they surrounded, and they started destroying everything that was there in the yagya. And they started making disturbances, and their bodily appearance is also described in here, which is blackish and yellowish, and it wasn't very pleasant scenario. Something when we read, we should all be scared of, like this is not we want to witness ever. So one thing that should be thoroughly practiced, not out of fear, not only because out of fear we have to practice bhakti, but these are the results of doing Vaishnava Prad and having too much Mithya Ahankar. So we have to remember these and always try and practice very, very hard. I'll be talking for myself, where Mithya Ahankar is very high, where ignorance is at the highest level. So this instance, when I read, it was very nice for me personally. When I read it, there was a lot of realizations that went through, that we give so much importance to bodily affairs, which is absolutely not required. And we, after we do that, the end results are so bad that we can end up like myself. I can end up like Daksha Prajapati. So it is like how Srila Prabhupada used to say, it is an emergency time to start practicing your bhakti. So it is really alarming to read this. This is all what I was supposed to discuss till text 13. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mate. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone.